Welcome back to Movies Explained. Today's film is a drama biopic from 2022 titled Elvis. The movie begins in Las Vegas, in the year 1997, when a man suddenly collapses while he's storing a box of holiday cards. He introduces himself as the legendary Colonel Tom Parker, and as he is rushed to the hospital, he narrates that he used to be Elvis Presley's manager. The news reports on Tom's collapse and his reputation as a con man, a liar and a cheat who mismanaged Elvis during his career. People accuse him of fraud as he received half of Elvis's income, allegedly to feed his gambling addiction. As seen in a flashback to 1973 at the Las Vegas International Hotel, where Elvis was set to perform, but could barely stand. Tom stated that the only thing that mattered was that Elvis performed that night, so they dunk him in water, drug him and get him on the stage. The public believes that Tom is behind Elvis's death, and Tom jolts awake to deny that claim, only to find himself alone in a hospital room. Still denying the claims, Tom narrates that he and Elvis were partners. Elvis was the performer, and Tom was the moneymaker, aka the snowman. He recounts his life, how as a young man he joined the carnival and learned to trick audiences to give away their money for a spectacular performance. Later in life, Tom moved on to the music industry, and now represents one of the top country singers, named Hank Snow. One day, Hank's son plays a new record that he says has been popular among the teens. Tom notices that the song is within the blues genre, popular with African Americans at the time, but Hank's son says that the singer is a white man. Due to the new record's popularity, Elvis is invited to perform at a prestigious radio show in front of a live audience, right after Hank and his son's performance. Intrigued by Elvis's music, Tom tries to meet him. He finds him outside, nervous about performing. Elvis's mother, Gladys, calms him down and encourages him by saying that Jesse is watching him from above. It turns out that Jesse is Elvis's twin brother who died in childbirth. Elvis's childhood was not ideal. Elvis and Gladys were forced to move to an African American neighborhood after his father was arrested and sent to prison. Elvis was an outgoing kid who enjoyed hanging out with his neighbors and was inspired by the blues and gospel music he heard around him. As a young man, Elvis works as a truck driver whose heart is closer to the African American music community in Memphis, Tennessee. He eventually releases a record with Sun Records, which typically works with African American artists. Back to the radio show, Elvis finally goes on stage with his band. He's nervous, and due to his uncommon style, he is mocked by one of the audience members. Suddenly, Tom watches from backstage as Elvis transforms into a talented and confident performer. His hip rolls and shakes excite the women in the room, and they soon start clamoring all over the stage. Meanwhile, the men and older audience are appalled, including his parents. Upon observing the girls' reactions, Tom realizes that Elvis is the ideal performer to achieve fame. To his mother's dismay, he invites Elvis to go on tour with Hank across the South. After some persuasion, Gladys agrees to let Elvis tour, and the young man is now on the road. Soon enough, Elvis's coveted performance takes over the popularity of Hank's show. He tells Tom to kick Elvis off the tour, but knowing how big the kid's potential is, Tom instead confronts Elvis with a big dream: to make him the biggest star in America. Tom wants to exclusively represent Elvis, cutting his own professional relationship with Hank. Wanting to take care of his family and friends, Elvis agrees, though to achieve that dream, he has to make some sacrifices. Elvis must quit Sun Records to sign a deal with the nation's biggest recording label. He must also break up with his girlfriend to retain a desirable image for her young female fans. Then, Tom manages to convince Gladys and Elvis's father Vernon to let him represent Elvis, by appointing Vernon as the executive manager of the newly founded Presley Enterprises, which will oversee all of Elvis's professional needs. With Tom backing him, Elvis comes out with his first record with the RCA label, which sells like hotcakes. His quick success enables him to buy his parents a large house. Elvis sells out concerts, appears on radio and television shows, and plans to sell a wide range of merchandise. His success is due in part to his charm, but also to Tom's ability to book the right gigs. Government officials, on the other hand, dislike Elvis's performance because they believe it is too perverted and violates segregation laws. As criticism towards Elvis makes headlines, Senator James Eastland confronts Tom, telling him to control how Elvis behaves in his performances lest he is put in jail. Tom complies by creating the new Elvis image, telling Elvis to perform while wearing a stiff suit and making him sing to a dog on stage. It was extremely humiliating, with the media mocking his performance and his devoted fans upset about the new Elvis image. Following an argument with Gladys, Elvis drives away to Beale Street, a gathering place for African American performers and by far Elvis's favorite place. He is invited to a bar by famous singer B.B. King. After seeing a young man sing splendidly, B.B. tells Elvis to be himself on stage rather than playing a character to appease the people in power. When Elvis is set to perform at a prestigious TV show as the new Elvis, and forbidden to dance, he instead performs like his old self, rebelling against the senator who's doing a pro-segregation campaign nearby. After the crowd goes wild, Elvis is pulled off of the stage by the police and arrested. The year is 1958 when Elvis is charged with indecency, but Tom manages to secure a deal for Elvis to join the army and be sent to Germany for 2 years instead of going to jail. Gladys is so concerned for Elvis's safety during his training that she turns to alcohol to calm herself. Unfortunately, it leads to her sudden death, devastating Elvis and Vernon. Tom approaches Elvis and promises to take care of him in Gladys' place. Eventually, Elvis is sent to Germany where he falls in love with an army pilot's daughter named Priscilla. Upon his return home, he becomes the highest-paid actor in Hollywood and marries Priscilla and has a daughter named Lisa Marie. Fast forward a few years later, past the height of his popularity, Elvis and his band of friends and family are on the road. He is upset because he has to do a Christmas shows which is out of his character. They hear the news that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has been assassinated, which further drives down Elvis's spirit. Sick of his work and the boring image he is forced to maintain, Elvis decides to team up with Steve Binder, who will produce his planned Christmas special. Elvis wants to reclaim his old image and popularity, so he and Steve change the program to instead feature Elvis in his old style. He finally performs in front of a live audience again, happily singing his old songs in his own style, much to Tom and the sponsors' bemusement, who want Elvis to sing Christmas carols instead. During a break, the crew hears the news of Robert Kennedy's assassination, which unnerves Elvis to a breaking point. He feels like America is losing its way and he wants to say something about it. Tom, on the other hand, insists that Elvis promote the sponsor's product while singing a Christmas song. Upset, Elvis proposes to make a new song for the second day of shooting the special with Steve's help. They stay up all night in preparation for a spectacular show the next day. Elvis sings his new song in protest of the state of the country, which makes headlines and brings him back to the spotlight of fame. Though things didn't go as he planned, Tom takes the opportunity to congratulate Elvis's successful return. Elvis wants to do a world tour on his private jet, but Tom doesn't like the idea. Instead, he brings Elvis to the International Hotel in Las Vegas, who offers to cover the cost of Elvis's concerts for 6 weeks straight in their hotel. Elvis agrees as long as he gets to do the world tour afterwards, but greedy Tom takes advantage of the opportunity to sign Elvis to a 5-year contract with the International Hotel in order to pay off his gambling debts. Elvis still wants to do the world tour, but Tom manages to push it back by citing security problems and dangerous foreign fans. He instead takes Elvis on a national tour, and because Elvis adores his fans, he quickly forgets about the world tour idea while performing in America. One day, when Elvis is returning for another year in the International Hotel, he is informed that the reason Tom doesn't want Elvis to perform outside the country is because Tom is a stateless citizen who doesn't have a passport. This enrages Elvis, who calls Tom out at the end of his performance, stating that Tom has been trapping him inside a golden cage. In the aftermath, Elvis wants to fire Tom, but Tom sends a bill of $8 million for everything he did as Elvis's manager that Elvis has to pay if he wants to fire Tom. So, Elvis is forced to keep Tom as his manager and does everything that he's told. He is forced to work to the brink of exhaustion, the stress causing him to get addicted to prescription drugs. This makes Priscilla decide to divorce Elvis and take their daughter with her, despite still loving Elvis. He can't do anything but keep performing, and by the mid-70s, his health has declined severely and he has gained a lot of weight. He sits in a car on a runway to send Lisa Marie back to Priscilla after spending some time with her. Priscilla enters his car, asking about his condition and begging him to go take a rest at a rehabilitation clinic that she recommends. However, Elvis says that he can't do that, so Priscilla leaves him once more and boards the private jet. Eventually, Elvis died from a heart attack at the young age of 42 in the year 1977. The world and especially America mourns for the loss of an icon that had influenced pop culture and helped with ending segregation in America. Tom narrates about the last time he saw Elvis perform, barely able to stand or walk with his health condition yet still singing loud and proud to his loving fans. Tom says that it wasn't him, nor the drugs and alcohol that killed Elvis, it was his love for his fans. Eventually, in 1997, Tom dies in his old age, with his reputation tarnished. Soon after Elvis's death, Tom was sued by the Presley estate for his abuse and mismanagement as Elvis's manager. He tried to plead guilty but then decided to settle with the Presleys, ending their relationship. Tom spends the rest of his old age wasting away all of his money on gambling, while Elvis remains the highest-selling solo artist of all time, his influence still felt to this day. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more videos.